I could be a doctor, I could be a coach. You pick either one. I've got the medical knowledge, I've got the personal knowledge. Sharing that with other people, and that is my purpose. Showing somebody else how they can empower themselves and heal and understand the power of true self-care, true self-love. Fuck me. That is my compass. Big time. And I'm like, ooh, more fist-tingly. More fist-tingly. And that's where fist-tingles comes from. And then another word I know fuck off comes from. It's recognizing those negative thoughts, the beliefs that aren't helpful. How do I know they're not helpful? How does it make you feel? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling fearful? Am I feeling anxious? It's noticing it, what's coming up, rather than just ignoring it and just pushing it down. And then explosion happens when there's a crisis, say, for example. You can see. Yeah. And that means you can offer, you can help create understanding, which is where the insight comes from, which is where the choices come from, which is where the change comes from. And that is the magic that I talk about. That's the healing. And then the transformation. I'll put my glasses on if I'm being.
Oh boy, serious Nupi coming out. Wait, is Nupi? Is that what you want me to call you?
Yeah. Yes, please. Absolutely.
Sweet. Let's all call her Nupi. Welcome, Nupi, to an episode of Heart to Heart. I absolutely am so excited. I've already cried 3 times from laughing and just getting to chat with you before we even started recording. So lots of great energy coming through here.
Oh, dear.
Blast, I have no doubt. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here today. I am personally have been looking forward to it. I feel like the universe brought us together at the crossroads of Lotus Tile Tarot, my last Heart to Heart. And I was drawn to her for maybe what sounds like pretty similar reasoning as far as like my own sexuality being somewhat muted or at a very low volume my entire life. And when I saw her 18 plus readings, 1, I didn't even know there was such a thing. And 2, I felt so like naughty listening to them. Like, you know, like.
I was like, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me more. Come on. This is brilliant.
I think binge watching is the category I fell into as soon as I found her. Thankfully, she was a few months in and she had several on the channel. So yeah, I was a big fan of Lotus Tile Tarot right off the bat. And like you were saying before we started, like, I wanted more. I wanted to know what kind of a life produced this human being, you know, like what path have you been on to be able to be this radiant being that just is dumping love on thousands of people at a time.
I love it.
How'd you learn to do that? You know, so
I
totally admire and respect the work she is doing on her channel. And so I asked her, she was so gracious to come on. We had a lovely interview. And in the comments on that interview, Nupi wrote an essay, as you would call it, and of pouring love back onto us, both of us, for the beautiful conversation that it was. And it definitely was. And that gave me this idea, something that I'd been thinking about for a while. There are so many beautiful people around my channel who comment about the work that they're doing and just the love that they have in their heart for themselves and humanity and everything that they're doing to share that. And when I saw what you wrote about a little bit about your journey and the work you do now, I was like, see, she would be perfect to like invite my community. If you want to be on an episode of Heart to Heart, here's the way to basically raise your hand and say, me, you know, maybe I can not pick everybody, but if there's somebody that is meant to be on, we'll make it happen. And so I create this questionnaire, I put it out on the community tab, and like what felt like 5 minutes later, I had an email in my inbox from you, and you're like, to do it. So here we are. Nupi, welcome to Heart.
Oh my god. Well, first of all, thank you so much, seriously, and for everything that you've just said. Yes, that was the first time I met you. And I had only just recently started watching Lotus Child Tarot's readings, and I just love her. I just love her. I really do. I feel like I know her, but that's the energy she gives, and I get it. It's almost I I just it's beautiful. And when I was watching the two of you together, I was moved to tears, and I just thought, what a beautiful conversation this is, and it was just gorgeous. And I basically, I can't, I when as I write, it's like I'm talking. I always laugh because my oh butterfly, oh I love, oh thank you universe.
That's a great sign. That's a great sign.
Oh, it just literally came in, then went off again, and I'm like, oh thank you. Distracted at the drop of a hat.
That's all good.
But yes, as I talk, my thumb is the conduit to my brain. I'm literally, it just pours out, and I'm like, oh, whatever, and I call it glitter bombing. So when I'm in other people's comments saying stuff, I'm like, have some glitter from me, have lots of love, I love you, I love you. That's what I did, and it really was, truly was like an essay. And then when I was like, and in my head I was like, oh universe, I really want to be. I wasn't being freaky, I wasn't being weird. I was just thinking, I'd love to talk to you. I would love to, somehow be a part of this or share my story. And it wasn't really a specific thing. I just thought, what a lovely woman and what a gorgeous conversation. Yes, I like this a lot. And then I felt it was like a few minutes, and I was like, fucking hell, I really am a miracle manifester right now. That's the energy. I'm giddy pants. And then I saw that what you'd written, and I'm like, holy shit, yes, me, yes, please, this. And I was like, hi, just wrote you an essay. I could copy and paste it, but I'll just quickly summarize again. Then wrote it out. So yeah, thank you.
So beautiful. So beautiful. I feel like
settled now. God, I've got that bit out now.
Yeah. I feel like that's how my energy works too. It's like the excitement builds, and then I have to say it. I have to. It's like my duty to the universe to say the thing. And I don't know. Absolutely. I don't question these things. You gotta say it.
Just go with it. Freedom. That's it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's why I loved your owning authenticity. And I think I wrote that on my form going, it was a sign. Yeah. I own my authenticity big time.
Yes.
And if I'm not, I will realign it back again. That's what I've learned throughout my, since burnout, which was 13 odd years ago, which was my crash and fucking the most shittiest time. But I wouldn't change it for the world, because it's where I was broken apart. And it sounds very dramatic, as I was saying to you before. I am quite dramatic, but I was rock bottom, big time, broken. But actually, it's how I came back together, and it was my awakening. And before burnout, I knew nothing about signs from the universe consciously, or the angels, Archangel Michael, the feathers, the crystal, all the other things that it's like a whole new world opened up for me. And it is so magical and so beautiful. But I knew about it subconsciously. I always have. It became more conscious. And that is exactly what sort of carries me through, if that makes sense. And it is truly magical. And I've lost my train of thought now.
Well, and that actually leads perfectly into something that I wanted to ask you, which is what is your North Star? Like, what do you point yourself at and aim towards? And, as long as I'm moving in this general direction, I feel like I'm doing okay.
Yes. What a gorgeous question. So I'll tell you what it is, actually. My inner compass is, and I know you asked North Star, but I have to have an inner compass to go to that North Star, if that makes sense. That's how I process it in my brain. My inner compass is very much what lights me up? What am I fizzing about? What is it that I literally am fizz popping and can't stop kind of thing? And it's that, and it's what truly lights me up. It's my purpose, which is doing, I'm so blessed. And I pinch myself because my career path was always going to be that. I've always been a healer in every single lifetime because I've had my readings done. I know that inherently. But in this lifetime, I'm drawn into medicine. I am a chatterbox. I love people. I'm curious. I'm nosy as hell. That's professional curiosity. I want to know more when people come into me. And I remember quite early on thinking, it's so fast. People fascinate me. Their dynamics, the interactions, the psychology behind things, and also how the interplay between somebody's illness is their illness, but the backstory and everything else. And this is before I even joined medical school. I've always had this inherent curiosity and I've been drawn. And even as a kid, I used to love astrology. I was the girl, you know, with all the teen magazines doing the personality quizzes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved all of that stuff. And, you know, all the mystical things, naturally very drawn to it. And that's inherently, I guess, a part of me. And that's where medicine that's always been my passion, I guess. And I went into this career genuinely and truly wanting to make a difference. And that is still the case 25 years down the line. That's even more so because I've got these extra superpowers that I've discovered, which is glitter and it's magic and it is sparkle and it is the whole bringing together mind, body, and soul into healthcare, into healing. It is healing, but truly, not just on the physical, the whole self-health needs. And that's what I learned through my own experiences of burnout. It's how I woke up to this conscious knowing. It's what I've learned ever since and practiced and honed and refined, shared with my community of patients. And it's not like I'm preaching spirituality to people. It's more about going, okay, your mind, body, soul needs they're like this. You can't separate them. One's off kilter, the other's going to follow. And it's understanding your baseline, these needs. That's the core foundation to your health and well-being, truly. And then it's integrating that with the disease-based medical model of care. And you can combine the two. And it's not that the medical model, it serves its purpose. You scratch the surface, you're not going to get anywhere. That person won't heal. They won't change necessarily, or there'll be barriers along the way. And I'm like, my approach is very much root cause. What's going on behind the scenes? Where's this coming from? I want to go back 5 steps. And inherently, because of my glitter superpowers, let's call it that, I know what's wrong when somebody walks in. I know. I can see it in their eyes because I'm tuned in to myself first. That's what burnout, I guess, really brought up for me. Being in tune with yourself means you connect with other people. You're in tune with somebody else. Know thyself to truly connect with someone else. And this knowing, this tingle feeling I used to get pre-burnout, I'm like, oh, that's nice. Oh, it's just a nice conversation. Oh, that's lovely. After everything I've been learning and gathering all this information, this knowledge, and all of this stuff for me, I know exactly what that is. It's for want of a better word, it's my connection with source, with the universe, and I know exactly what that means. It's energy. And I don't need to say a damn thing. I don't need to talk about that. Feel it. I know it. Feel like Arianda now. I feel it. I know it. I give it. I got it. I totally made that up just then. But that is what I tune into. And I can see what's wrong. I can feel it. And when I see that light come back into somebody's eyes, after holding space, doing a couple of cycles of breath work, and somebody says to me, oh gosh, I feel like something's lifted. And I'm like, yes, look, oh my God, look at the energy, feel it. And I get dead giddy. And I was like, can you feel that? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I feel it. And that's just incredible because I see that person's light coming back. And it's just, that's my purpose. That is exactly my purpose. And that is my compass, because it's and showing and guiding and sharing everything I guess I've learned through my position as a doctor and through who I am as a person. I could be a doctor, I could be a coach. You pick either one. I've got the medical knowledge, I've got the personal knowledge. Sharing that with other people, and that is my purpose. Showing somebody else how they can empower themselves and heal and understand the power of true self-care, true self-love. Fuck me. That is my compass. Big time. And then my North Star is everything that aligns with that. So I'm kind of like, nope, 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 it's going away from that, and then come back to it. And then it's just trusting and seeing what comes through. But that's what lights me up. And then it's the things that make me fizz, pop, shine, giddy, happy, all of that. So I've got lots of things that keep me there. And then I don't think about it too much, to be fair. Mm-hmm. What's the North Star here? Because I guess over time, I sound like a wise sage, and I'm not. I'm learning all the time. But it's almost like, stay here. Mm-hmm. Stay here because it's coming anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't almost look to this.
Yeah.
It's more, okay, I've got my dreams, dream big, yes, but it has to resonate from what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And what is my purpose? And what is it that really, truly lights me up? And it's that, it's serving others. It is helping others. And it's a reward back because it's a win-win. It's give and take. It always is. There's always an exchange. And I could talk about this for hours, as you can probably tell. And now I'm going to be very self-aware and pause.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful answer. Beautiful awareness. Oh my gosh.
I wasn't losing track at all, but I was thinking in my head, well done, Nupi. So bringing it back and remembering what the question was.
Oh, you did great.
You said,
I was impressed.
And I'm like, yeah, I was impressed with myself too. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. You really brought it around.
I did. I really liked the way I did.
Yeah.
100%. Like I said, I'm my own cheerleader because nobody else is going to fucking cheerlead you on. 1, 2, 3. Well done, me. It's true.
Yeah. Oh my God. It is so true. Like you are the one that never leaves. If you want somebody to cheer you on 24/7, then it better be you, and you can just cheer with you.
Yes. And do you know what? I have to say something here because this is what I felt when I was watching yourself and Taylor. The space you held and what was created between the two of you was beautiful, and it enabled both of you to just be truly yourselves. Yeah. And for me to say I've literally met Carly today for the first time face to face, and literally the cameras went on, we're just giggling our heads off. And it's just such a beautiful environment. I mean, for me to say out loud, which is, in my head, I'd be thinking it, but for me to actually say to you, I was actually congratulating myself in my brain. So I came round and I didn't get distracted. Yeah. That's because I feel so incredibly comfortable. And that's very special. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for that reflection. I feel like that is one of my main goals when I sit with someone, whether it's in a coaching session or like in one of these conversations, is that basically like suspending judgment and practicing acceptance, they're not me. I'm not trying to be them. They don't have to be anything. I just get to sit back and witness and appreciate the divine being that's like sitting in front of me like it's a spectator sport, you know, to like
Yeah.
let the inspired question, which that North Node or
Yeah.
star question was inspired out of. Okay, so that's why I asked you about astrology. Is
Yeah.
today I'm obsessed with the notes, as you were saying on my
Yeah. Yeah.
today the North Node is exactly on my rising sign, like exactly on
Okay.
my ascendant, which is at 0 degrees of Taurus, and
Okay.
the North Node is at 0 degrees of Taurus today,
Okay.
exactly where my rising sign is. Um, and our rising sign is like kind of the face we put out into the world. It's like kind of
Yeah.
your first impression that you would make on a brand new person in like a social setting. So, like, kind of a mask. It's not really the depths of who you are. It's more
Yeah.
like when you walk in somewhere for the first time, like, kind of,
Mm.
who are you? And so I'm Taurus. I'm gonna just be, and I'm just gonna look at everything because
Right.
right, I'm just gonna take it all in first and foremost. I
Yes.
think it's really beautiful, that safety value of like when I do sit with someone,
Yeah.
that's my main goal, is that you feel
Yeah.
safe to be you, because
Yeah.
who knows what we're gonna get
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
safe to like open up and let whatever come into the space
Yeah.
is wanting to
Yeah.
be seen and to be heard and witnessed
Very much
by
so.
me and whoever's going to watch this, you know.
Very much
And
so.
I know for me personally, like I am, I like to say, like I'm a crab without a shell. Like I'm such a tender little creature, and it's so easy for people to make me not feel safe, that,
Yeah.
and it does shut me down when I don't feel safe, that I think that's
Yeah.
why, like,
Yeah.
I just like have a radar for like, am I creating an
Yes.
open enough space for you to just get to be
Yes.
the effervescent,
Yes.
beautiful being that you are? Like, just stand out of the way and watch what happens, basically. So yeah, thank you for validating that the effect is translating the
It
way.
is
And yeah,
hugely,
cool.
hugely.
Yeah,
So thank you. Effervescent actually is one of my favorite words.
yeah, you are.
Just saying.
You're like the
It
embodiment
really is.
of like a fizzy drink, like a champagne
That's,
cocktail.
yeah,
That's you.
it's true. I
Yeah,
love
for
it.
sure.
And actually, that is where I got, because my favorite words are fizzy and effervescent. And that's where I've got my own glitter practitioner speak. And I made up my own language basically. And I made up the word fizzessence. So it's your inner light.
It's essence. That's perfect.
As you do. Exactly. So your fizzessence is your inner.
Oh, my face
Laughing
already
so much
hurts.
on this.
Oh, no.
Oh, good grief. But, the fizzessence is when you truly recognize and realign and restore your whole self-health needs, mind, body, soul. That is when you're in full alignment to self, to others, to the big wide world around, and that's when the magic starts happening. That is when you are allowing your soul essence, your inner sparkle, which has its own energy and the most beautiful color that is you. That's your fizzessence. It's more than a color. It's more than a light. It's more than that. There's an energy that goes with it, and that's why I put the two together. Fizzessence. Yes, I love it. I do too.
Oh my God.
And my tagline is find your fizz. Okay, now hold on a minute. My own tagline. So this framework that I share with people to how you do all of this is my F list, and it's find your fizz and flourish with Dr. Nupi's F list.
Oh, fizz and flourish.
Find your fizz and flourish. I love words. I love alliteration. So a lot of my things, it's like recognize, restore, realign. It just, I love words, and I
Yeah,
just bring it, yeah, bring it
ditto.
together.
Oh God, I love it. I love making up your own language to
Yes.
capture the essence of what
Yes.
you're talking about. Like, language
Yes.
doesn't, it's not big enough for me. Okay. I'm gonna
No.
have to take these two and like create my own vehicle that will carry my spirit, damn it, because it's not gonna be in one of these teeny little inadequate baby words.
It's not fizz. It's not effervescent. I'm making my own word.
Fizzessence. Sure.
Fizzessence.
Oh my god.
And I've got more words that I've made up.
Oh my gosh, let's hear
as
them.
part of how I speak, because like you said, it's very difficult unless somebody has like patience for 20 odd years, whatever. There's an energy, they get it, or they it's a feeling, say. But if say somebody doesn't know, or if this is more when I first came onto LinkedIn a year ago, and I'm like, how do I write about what I say and do? It's so difficult. It's almost like you have to just experience it, really, and you'll get it, or you won't get it. And if you don't get it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. You're not my person. F off. It's fine. I don't need no wankers around me, which is why I actually said to the universe, I did. I said, thank you. Thank you. I am ready to share this. But thank you for only sending me those aligned with my heart and soul.
Yeah.
That serves this mission and my purpose and your purpose and what you have for me, ordained for me. And thank you kindly. I've learned my lessons, but a bit of divine protection, please, because I know how to protect myself. Been through enough. Thank you for keeping the motherfucking wankers at bay, because I've had my fair share. Thank you, guardian angels, ancestors, spirit guides. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And that's how one connection did lead to another. And it's beautiful. Absolute. I just, very blessed and very grateful. But my language speak is where what I was sharing with you is, so that fizzing, that feeling, the energy, the feeling, that. So I call it my fizz tingles. So that's my I love the way you just laughed then.
I love it. You get what you get. Yeah. You earned it. Congratulations. You're killing it.
Because it's fizzy.
His tingles.
And it is tingly. I'm like literally top to toe. I used to call it my angel radar or my sixth sense, spider sense. He's off calling it spider sense. He's no. It's my angel radar. It's my knowing that, I'm on the right path. That's what, got it. Thanks. I'm bang on there. That's a confirmation or it's an affirmation for me. And I'm like, more fizz tingly.
More fizz tingly.
And that's where fizz tingles comes from. And then another word I made up was so negative thoughts and beliefs. Your inner demon, dragon, shite, shadow self, all that stuff, imposter, whatever you want to call that inner critic. Okay. I call it the critter chatter. Focus, breathe, get it away. That's my first F on the F list. Fuck off. And it's the critter chat. I call it critter chatter because it's the critters. It's like, the bugs and the
Yep.
That's what critter means to me anyway. And it's chatter.
And that's what it feels like, is like bugs crawling around.
Bugs in your brain.
Yeah. For real. Yep. Not
with the sound effects.
Yep. You're nailing it. Like translating the energy so perfectly. Yeah. Critter chatter.
And doesn't it just make you think, oh yeah, critter chatter. Yeah. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm trying to think if there's any more. There are more. It'll come to me as I do.
For sure. Pepper them in for us. These are great.
Yeah, I will.
A whole new language. I love it. I love it. The fizz tingles, the fizzessence, I think the fizz tingles might have been the best one.
I think my favorite is, I do love, is essence. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It captures your spirit like pretty well. So I mean, I can totally see why you're digging it. So we had talked about before we started recording about how like both can get into that like holding space posture for other people, like listening, and how then when it's finally like your turn to talk, then like you have nothing to say. And it's like this moment of anxiety in your mind of like, oh my God, my brain is blank. I have no idea what to say. And I have had to like build a relationship with that feeling, which basically
Mm,
feels like critter chatter. It feels like
mm,
doing it wrong, you're missing your moment, like blah, blah,
mm,
blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel good to be in that anxiety. And
mm,
as I'm talking about
mm.
this because I just had it happen. Like my mind was a total blank a second ago. But two, the relationship I built with that feeling, it feels a lot like what you're describing with critter chatter, as far as like recognizing it as
Yeah.
helpful signpost of
Yes.
art, you know? And
Yes.
so, for example, I have come to understand that when my mind goes blank, mostly it's because it's not my turn to talk. It's
Oh,
not like
okay.
somebody else has something in their
Yeah.
mind that they're ready.
Yeah.
And so it's almost
Yeah.
like a divine roundabout where
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to get on because somebody's
Yeah.
about to come through there and the space
Oh, I
needs to
love
stay
that.
open. And
Yeah.
that has like put me at such ease when I do start to panic about my mind's blank and I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
to just let myself off the hook with like, well, that means it's not your turn. That means
Yeah.
like look back at her and like,
Yeah.
what else do you
Yeah.
add to that? And
Yeah.
probably there's something, that's like really valuable to the conversation and to what we
Yeah.
were saying of like,
Yeah.
letting whatever wants to exist in this space for all of us who are
Come.
sharing this space be
Yes.
able to come
Yes.
through. And
Yes.
sometimes that means we're kind of like held back a little bit, like my mind's blank.
Mm.
I don't have anything to offer, but in our society, we're praised for what we offer. So finding my way to, then it's not my turn to offer anything. Like
Yeah.
that feels revolutionary to me,
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
to what you're saying of like when the critter chatter starts to have a like an off ramp to kind of get yourself
Yep.
back out of that. Do you have anything
Yes.
kind of in that boat that you want to share?
Oh, yes, I do. It's one almighty fuck off
Oh,
because the critter chatter, it's the negative thoughts, it's the negative beliefs, it's the mindset that either takes you away, either carries you away to the future, and this like tidal wave of energy of the what ifs and oh my gosh, and this might happen and this might happen. It hasn't even happened yet, but
right.
all that energy has been expended. Or, and as I said to you, I love alliteration. It's the rabbit holes of rumination takes you down to the past, which has happened. You can't change it. The only thing you can retrieve from those experiences is what you learn from it and how you would move it forward, or just let it go. Because the only thing you can influence, change, choose to change is here and now. And if you are aware of the critter chatter, that little voice that starts going, no, you can't, no, you can't, what you doing? Oh, fuck that. No, 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 no. Oh, what if this happens and this and then this and then this? And it all literally goes from here to the chronic stress response. It's the amygdala, it's your lizard brain. There's neuroscience behind it, but it's that fight, flight, all of the fear-based reactions. That's the critter chatter. And it's recognizing it for what it is in time, learning to embrace it and learning to use it as an alarm clock to go, okay, wait a minute, what is it that I've missed out here? What is it that I'm not looking at?
Yeah.
But at the beginning, when you are, say, overwhelmed with anxious thoughts, and it's just before you know it, you've got a cough, and then it's turned into, God forbid, cancer, because that's what you just, your thoughts run away with you. In that moment in time, that's where the fuck off comes from. It's recognizing those negative thoughts, the beliefs that aren't helpful. How do I know they're not helpful? How does it make you feel? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling fearful? Am I feeling anxious? It's noticing it, what's coming up, rather than just ignoring it and just pushing it down. And then explosion happens when there's a crisis, say, for example. Naming it for what it is and reframing that thought or belief. That's that critter chatter, and how we kind of stop that in its tracks is one almighty fuck off. There's power behind swearing. It's my very first F on the F list. And it's not me trying to be cool or oh my God, I'm so cool by swearing. Yeah. No, I do swear like a trooper, but it's more about, it's like the short, sharp shock to the brain going, no, we are not activating lizard brain. Let's keep you here, keep you in respond mode as opposed to knee-jerk react, which is what happens when your amygdala, the lizard brain, gets activated, and then this whole cascade of stress hormones, chemicals flood your system.
Yeah.
Makes your heart race, makes your stomach go all funny, makes your palms sweaty. That's the physical symptom of this fear-based stuff.
Yeah.
And that is where the fuck off comes from, because it stops that. It keeps you in your respond mode, allows you to tap into the areas of your brain which you can still problem solve, and as opposed to sort of run away and go either to the past or right over to the future. But F off does not mean you go around going, yeah, fuck off to you, fuck off to this, fuck off to that. No, it's catching the thought, recognize it, fuck off, and straight to focus and breathe, because the two come hand in hand. The breath work roots you, grounds you into the energy of now, and helps you to just go, okay, that's my anchor. I've bought myself some pause time. I've bought myself time. It's like you're freezing time. I pretend in my head I'm like one of those Marvel characters, and I've just gone, and you're allowed to see what's going on and see around you. You can pause time, you can bend time, and that's through your breath work. It's incredible. When I do this with patients, I do this within like a 10-15 minute consultation, and I will always share fuck off and focus and breathe, because they're the most powerful things to actually walk away with. It's an active tool you can use. And that breath work, I don't do more than about 2 minutes of box breathing. This is what I share and show. And when my patient opens their eyes, or my client, and I was like, and people have always said to me, oh, that felt like about, oh, gosh, I'm so sorry to keep you. It's been so long. And I was like, guess how long that was? I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, no, 2 minutes. And it's, you stop time. I don't know if next time, if you do any meditation breathing, just put a timer on. Do, say, 2 minutes-ish. Do 8 box breathings, and just see how much you can really go, oh my God, that felt like 15, 20 minutes. And it hasn't been. That's so powerful, because you are actively calming everything down through your breath. So you stay in that respond mode. You then open your eyes and you go, okay, where's the evidence that this? Where's the evidence that this? And you challenge that thought process. So it's reframing it. And that's the third F, which is flip. It's looking at another perspective, essentially. So focus, breathe. Fuck off, focus, breathe, and flip are the first 3 that kind of deploy. I call it, let's deploy F1, 2, and 3 in this situation. Roger that.
Yeah.
It's there's lots of conversations that like, geez,
oh God,
the conversations in, but basically that's what you do when the critter chatter starts, to stop it from going into whatever. But at any stage along the way, you can flip it back again. Mm-hmm. It's recognizing it. It's all about awareness. It boils down to awareness.
Yes.
And sometimes it's okay to sit in the negative shit. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's learning, is this defining me? Is it ruling me? And if it starts to do this, none of this stuff defines you. But it's taking notice of those lower based energies, the vibrations of shame, fear, jealousy, all of the more negative emotions, and actually going, okay, I hear you. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's coming a bit louder. It's coming a bit louder. Fuck off. Focus, breathe. Come back to center. Okay, is it fear or what actually is behind that thought? Where's the evidence? There isn't any. Fuck it off. Right, move through the rest of the list because it's your whole self needs, not just one aspect. So I hope that makes sense. I've just kind of gone.
That's beautiful. And I agree. I see that as a very helpful takeaway. And I only just became aware of box breathing within the last like few months. And
yeah, it's amazing.
Doesn't know. Do you want to just quickly explain like how you can do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I love doing this.
Yeah.
So box breathing, and I'll do it with you. We'll do it together. I love doing this. I do this in clinic with my patients, and I'm like, you needed a bit of that too.
Yeah, perfect.
So essentially, I'll talk it first, and then we do it together. So box breathing, just be aware of your breath, feet flat on the ground, and I add some visualization in my box breathing, but I'll just show the breathing in the beginning bit. So it's a deep breath in through the nose. So it's say for a count of 2 or 3 seconds, and then you hold at the top for another couple of seconds, and then breathe out. And it's the longer out breath through the mouth, and try and extend it. It's like you're blowing out into a balloon, and you are completely emptying your lungs, and it's all coming out. Then you hold, pause for a couple of seconds, and then start the cycle again. So it's in, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, and then just keep going. So you go around the box, and each box, you can do 5 boxes, and that's what I actually prescribe on my F list, is this box breathing. It's what you use when you start feeling the jitters, the anxiety feeling, the symptoms, or whatever's going on. And it's how you pause and buy yourself that time. Yes. And I would say, I would like you to do 5 boxes, 5 box breathing 3 times a day, because it's morning, lunchtime, and then before you sleep. And then as an added thing that I say is, as you are breathing in, imagine you are breathing in, and this is not religious or anything, it's whatever denomination you believe. I believe in source and divine light, and I visualize pure white light coming down top of my head, all in, just cleansing every single cell, every single part of me, cleansing me, ridding me of any negative shite that does not serve me, anything toxic that does not serve me. And as I'm breathing out, I'm imagining it's grey, dirty, bleh, sludgy colour, because I don't like that colour. It can be whatever colour works for you. And I blow it out, and then I'm transmuting it back into pure white light, and it gets recycled in the universe. And that's, so you're breathing in white light, which is cleansing and clearing whatever's going on, the critter chatter, the thoughts, the shite, the whatever, stuff you know, stuff you don't know. And then you are blowing it out. You're seeing it leave your body. It's being transmuted, and then you're breathing it back in again, pure white light. And that is extremely powerful when you add in that additional bit of visualization, and then you just ground it and and that, you don't need to know meditation. You don't need to know all the bits behind this, but just focusing your mind when you're feeling not right, and you imagine this beautiful white golden light with sparkles. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of sparkle? That's the glitter. And then it's just, oh, that's my happy space. Yes, that's my calm space. And I'm breathing all the shit out. Bam. It's a very visual thing. And you don't need to have had any prior knowledge, I'm saying. And if you do have prior knowledge, even better, you know exactly what this is all about. So that's how I would say this to patients, basically.
Yes. And I love what you said about, it's a great way to buy yourself some time. Most of the time, an immediate response
Yeah.
not needed. It might
No.
feel like that in your fight or flight brain, but it's
Yeah.
not
Yes.
limited. And so
It's like,
even 10 seconds in the box.
precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like this instant gratification. Oh my God, I've had 5 notifications. I have to look right now. Says who? Fuck off. No. Stay here. Finish what you're doing. And this is where you become more awake to the here and the now, as opposed to 5 notifications have come in. I must do this. I must do that. And da, 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 da. And all of a sudden, you kind of run away with yourself and you don't really stop. And that is so crucial, to just stop and pause and check in and just go, how am I? Actually, how am I today? But how am I really? And then that's when you start to really uncover, what is it I'm not seeing here? Why is it I feel a certain way? What's going on? Rather than kind of pushing it away, going, it's fine. I'll push through, I'll push through, I'll push through, which is autopilot, essentially. And that's exactly what led to burnout.
That's
When
what I
you're
was
on
gonna say.
autopilot.
I'm like, that's how
Yeah,
you drive yourself off the cliff. Called burnout,
precisely.
you know? Like
Absolutely. And it's just, you lose your passion, you lose your joy, because everything's like, oh my God. Oh my. Hold on a minute. Stop. You don't have to keep going like that. Stop. Allow yourself, gift yourself this time. It's the most precious gift you can give to yourself. And that is the most valuable part of self-care. And that's what I share and teach. It's self-care with a sparkle. Self-care doesn't mean, as much as I love doing this, cleansing space with my Buddha bells and incensing and all this beautiful stuff. That's beautiful. But true self-care is allowing yourself to say, I I am worthy of this. I am worthy to give myself some time here. And I know my worth. I will own my needs, even if you're not at the minute. It's creating that space so that you go, okay, I will do this now for myself, because if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do this. Nobody else is responsible for the way I feel. Only me. That in itself is so powerful, because you can flick that. You get to choose. That's the whole point. This is the beauty of really what I share through my F list. It's that so powerful. You get to choose. Choose this. It leads you this way. Take ownership. Doesn't serve. Bam. F it off. F it off. Focus, breathe. Bring it back. Choose something different. And that's the bit that is so crucial here.
yeah. And it really does, like you said, boil back down to a sense of worthiness. Because I think if you're in the middle, this is very much from my own experience, like pre-spiritual awakening or healing or any of it. It's like when I'm in the critter chatter, when I have the fear and the worry and the anxiety starting to go.
Yeah.
But back then, it was so normal. It was
Yes.
just like almost my personality to be
Yeah.
anxious. So like
Yeah.
there was no turning it off, because I didn't even know there was a different way. I just thought I was born like this and this is just who I am. And that's not true. It just was my practiced posture.
Precisely. And actually, that's a really good point, because a lot of the time it's a conditioned response. And where does this even come from? So, how I would, not to go too deeply into this, but I guess how I explain this is, the way we are, as a child, say you have this free spirit and anything's possible. You want to be a mermaid fairy? Fucking hell, you're going to be a mermaid fairy, It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
Whatever you
and
want.
I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And there aren't any, there's no bound, there's no, you don't have to conform, is the word I was looking for. As you get older, part of being a kid is being a kid. And you're allowed to do loads of creative stuff, and you do have quiet time. When the children are little, we have quiet time. They have quiet time and nap times and all sorts of stuff. But then as you get older, it's kind of like, oh no, you're too old for that now. You're too old for that. You have to be serious and be your working life and your career. Well, hold on. Art, creativity is part of who we all are. It's finding that aspect of yourself and tuning back into it. It's your inner child, basically. But as a child, depending on the environment that you're in, and it's not one kid's trauma is not somebody else's, and it's not trauma where you are, it's the safeguarding concern kind of trauma. It can be critical parents, it can be very high achievers, it can be things handed down generationally, a way of being, culture. All of these things influence how you view the world. And it's through those eyes that as a kid, you kind of will respond in a certain way. So you might get a bit of a funny feeling in your belly, because someone's been not very nice to you or something. And it's almost that if that is happening regularly, for example, you're going to start, you're not aware of it. You don't have these responses conditioned yet, but you kind of compensate in a certain way. So you'll recognize the feeling and you'll recognize what it is you might do to protect yourself. So for taking me as an example here in the anxiety side, I was a former people pleaser. I've got to watch myself. Perfectionism, which unrelenting standards, which all came from seeking approval, the people pleasing, fear of rejection, failure, shame, all of these things. And so on the outwards, push. I do this, then I'm good enough. If I do this, I am good enough. Keep going, keep pushing, ignore all the signals, all the signs. I'm clearly not okay, but boom, 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 boom. There is no other way. Just keep going. And before you know it, it gets you so far. There's part of it that's reasonably okay. It's what got me through med school, say. It's the grit, it's the determination, all of these things. But then it catches up with you. If you're giving, and not taking care of self and not paying attention to your needs, one thing and one thing alone, you're going to go bring off kilter. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly the autopilot I'm talking about. And you're just doing this the whole time. There's no pause. There's no take a step back. And it's not just let's have a weekend away and we now need to have downtime. Let's schedule the downtime. Almost. Why do people get ill every time they go away on holidays? Because they're working to max. Bang, 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 till they go away. And then all of a sudden, your immune system reacts. It's like, oh my God, I'm battered. And people get colds and coughs and things like that. There is science behind all of that. It's not stress, but it's the way the body responds to this constant bombardment of ding, 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 ding. And it's like, slow the fuck down. Listen to me. And then your body starts talking to you, various symptoms. Mm. And it's like, oh, headache. Oh, feeling a bit, And you kind of go, push it back. It's nothing. Take some paracetamol. I'll be fine. And then it's kind of like 3-4 weeks later, chest infection. Where the hell did that come from? What was going on 3 weeks ago? What's going on in the background? How much are you really looking after your needs? I'm not saying this happens all the time, but it's when you start to pay attention and truly start aligning that mind, body, soul. That's when you really, truly can keep on top of your own health in the best way you can in that given time, is what I mean.
Sure.
People have chronic health conditions, but it's also then how you navigate that.
Yeah.
So, and then that's where all of this is even more important, that this chronic health condition doesn't have to define you. It's instead of battling that diagnosis almost, it's going, okay, this is what it is. This is the reality of the now. How can I navigate this the best I can?
Yeah.
Myself with these toolkits, with these frameworks, because that's the only thing I'm in control of, the here and the now.
Exactly.
My mind, my body, my soul.
Exactly.
that's the bit that is very empowering, and that's the bit that is healing, and that's the bit that helps somebody really come through certain things, events, what's going on in their life. It's phenomenal, and that's what I love about what I do, because it's incredible, that the human spirit. And when you're given that space almost, and there's this, I can see it in somebody's eyes, of this click moment of understanding and insight, and going, okay, yeah, I get to choose what happens next. Yes, I'll take ownership of that.
Yeah.
And I've seen this is how I practice. So over the last 10 years of consciously working like this and integrating, oh man, the transformations, and it is, I mean, that's why I do what I do, because it's amazing, it's incredible, and it never fails to humble and inspire me, because it's not conventional. I know it's not, and it's been met with, well, I do it all in my own time, but to me, it's holding space and connecting from here, which I always do, and using some superpowers along the way. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with somebody else's life, their well-being. It's not just a physical problem presenting, it's the whole person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think for me, that is such a privilege, because there are very few professions who really get to step into somebody else's life with that level of trust, which is unconditional. And that is a gift. And if you can step in, it's kind of like being in the club, and it's like gold row, motherfucking VIP access. You're right there. You can see.
Yeah.
And that means you can offer, you can help create understanding, which is where the insight comes from, which is where the choices come from, which is where the change comes from. And that is the magic that I talk about. That's the healing. And then the transformations. To me, it's as common sense, and it's just it's as natural as breathing, and helping somebody else to get that and understand that for themselves changes their health trajectory. Not even just their health, it changes their whole trajectory. And it's incredible. And that's what keeps me going in the face of, oh, but is this level of what you do even needed? And is this level of safeguarding even needed? Going beyond the surface. Yeah, it fucking is, actually. Yes.
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been the safeguarding lead for children for 20 years. Domestic abuse clinical lead for a fucking reason, because I'm seeing beyond what somebody comes in with. And I'm like, okay, so how are you? I know when to delve. And then you're saying, I'm here. It doesn't have to be like this. You're offering that space, because I know I'm going off on a tangent, but say with domestic abuse, for example, people don't walk in with trauma written on their foreheads. They come in with the baseline things we all see as clinicians, which is your bog standard presentations: headaches, gynae problems, pelvic pain, fatigue, tired all the time, all these conditions. And if you're not even going there with what's going on behind that, you just take the medical history, for example, and it's seeing beyond that, and truly seeing beyond what somebody could be actually experiencing, and offering that out, change somebody's life, basically. That's why I'll never not do what I do. I can't not, once you're awake and tuning in, and you just know, I can't ignore that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
And that is my purpose. That is my purpose, to show others and to share this message, so more people get to do this for themselves. Why should you just be a patient of mine who happens to come across because you had an appointment with me? That's why I came onto the platform and pivoted in my career, to glitify the world, basically.
Yes.
And to spread the F list.
Yeah.
And to share this with more people, because it works. I'm living proof of it. And I guess I've had 10, 11 years of on the ground, intense training because of the demographics I used to work in. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, it lights me up massively. So sorry, I know I've rambled on a bit there.
Oh no, that there was lots of good stuff there. I couldn't cut it off. I had to hear it. I needed all of that. I love what you're demonstrating as far as when it lights you up from the inside out, anybody's criticism or resistance or like oppositional force, it just is like, oh, well, this is interesting for my challenge for today, but like, how am I going to figure this out so I can keep on going? It's like the thought never even occurs to you, like, well, maybe this is a sign I should stop. Like when you feel it, like through the center of your being, like that's where I'm at with owning authenticity. Same thing. Like I feel like I'm proof of why, if you just acknowledge what's real, you would be amazed at the quality of life you can have access
absolutely
to. Like
absolutely.
Just say what's real. And you don't have to have the answer. You don't have, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be polished. You can just, my mind went blank and here's how I work with it and like turn it into whatever it's supposed to be. Like
totally. It's being real.
Yes. Like there's something that's been coming through a lot these last few months that like there is no target, there is no bullseye, which I feel like kind of goes with what you're saying about there is no North Star kind of out there.
It's
a matter of like being what is, like what's coming through you. So I love all of that coming together. Beautiful. I say with like wholehearted conviction, self-care saved my life. I would not be alive today if I had not figured out how to do my morning time, my rising ritual every day. I've always been a morning person, but I used to like wake up, shower, and go to work. Like I'm at work serving everyone else within 30 minutes of being awake. And that was my life.
What about you?
Oh God, it was killing me. I was dying inside and had no idea why. Tried to serve that much harder to like, feel better. Counterproductive. But then I made the choice of like, I'm not going to live like this. Like, I'm not going to live in this state of chronic stress and like my emotions couldn't handle it. Like, I'm a very emotionally volatile person anyway. And when I get fatigued, when my gas tank is empty, oh my God, I'm a volcano waiting to happen to whoever's standing in front of me. And it happened to be my boss there at one of the last times where like, I just broke down on her. Like, I can't do this. She's like, take 2 weeks and we're going to pay for it. This isn't going to come out of your vacation. Like, go and take care of yourself. And like, give me your laptop. She took my laptop, so I couldn't even take it with me where I was going. Like, she was so wonderful. And that was kind of the beginning of this clicking into place where if you give it all away all the time, like
you're gonna break.
When the shit hits the fan, like even one little thing goes a little bit sideways, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's
oh my gosh.
I had pushed and pushed and pushed, and there was this deadline where like 70, 80-hour weeks for the deadline. And then they come out and they're like, so we're going to extend the deadline by 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I lost my because I have been living for this deadline. I have made sacrifices.
Oh my God.
And then you just like move the goalposts and I'm like, not me. Nope, I got nothing left in my tank. Sorry. And so she sent me away for those 2 weeks and like I didn't help. And that's the heartbreaking thing that like,
and it's sorry, go on.
Well, it's like those 2 weeks of like me like getting the end of the project done and like launching it, and I missed that part. I had done all the work and been there. I missed the launch because I was cracked up and like at home having to take care of myself and like put the pieces back together. And I was, and that was fine. But like you end up missing some of the parts when you don't like invest in the energy all the way.
All along the way. And that comes with its own shame. And I have failed. And I'm clearly not good enough. I can't do what I'm doing. Everybody else is managing it. And that's where all that shit comes in. And then that's the quitter chatter. it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy of constantly reaching, constantly going, not recognizing. If I take, and this is again something I mirrors on what's the F list, if I give myself time now, pockets of time, fun is part of my F list for a reason. You've got to have that quiet time, downtime regularly, scheduling an appointment for yourself. And doing that in tiny little chunks, you're going to get the rest of your other stuff done heck of a lot quicker with a fresher mind. And it's training yourself when you have been a perfectionist, or, you can't be seen to be doing it this way and it has to be good enough. It is relearning. It's literally breaking all those literally ripping it all apart, start from scratch and go, I matter. I put my needs first. This is going against the grain of what you're taught to a degree, especially as a woman. I think that, yes, we must put others' needs first. That's the sacrifice, the martyrdom that comes with it. Fuck that. No. And culturally, specifically culturally, I can only speak for myself. I'm from an Indian background. I mean, thankfully, my parents are very broad-minded. But there were elements. I remember my mum saying, I've done this so that you can do this. And I'm like, well, that's great, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that with my kids. My needs are always going to come first. That sounds really, oh my God, what do you think she is? No, I love my children to bits. Their needs are met because I'm in tip-top shape, the best I can be.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're going to get frazzled mummy, stressed out mum, who's and I'm not present with them.
Yeah,
that's not okay. So it's relearning what you think is the ideal. And I'm talking from a personal experience because, when I had our kids, I remember being so hard on myself. I mean, I've worked, I was a GP partner. I've gone back into clinical practice, same partnership, working my ass off, I needed to prove myself. Of course I did, because I was the only female partner who happened to have children. So there was a lot of that behind it. But it was almost like I was trying to be the perfect doctor, the perfect wife, the perfect mum. And oh my gosh, if I couldn't make pickup, I failed as a mother. I have failed. And then that was reiterated by my own mum going, it's really important you're there to pick up the children, because if you're not, they're going to suffer. And I'm like, how can I just leave a clinic at like 4:30, 5 o'clock? It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're doing too many sessions, and we can't afford not to. Why the fuck did I go to medical school, for fuck's sake? I'm not leaving. That's part of who I am. But it's a juggle. It's a juggle finding your role in that sense. You're wearing all these different hats almost, and not just even, you don't have to be a mum for this bit, but there are always different aspects. And it can just suddenly feel, oh my God, I don't even know who I am anymore. And that's what I remember saying to me. I don't know who the fuck I am. I don't recognize myself. And I remember a really close friend saying, but you're this sunflower of energy. You're a sunflower. You radiate this joy and this energy. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't feel like a sunflower. I feel like a freaking weed. But can nobody see this? No, they couldn't, because I was very good at being okay and putting a mask of, I'm okay. I got this.
Yeah.
Because it didn't even occur to me to go, oh my God, I feel like crap. What the hell? What's going on? And I think I only really allowed myself to crash and burn when I remember thinking, who would miss me if I was gone? Who would miss me? What value do I bring? And I could just, as I was driving home, I could just turn my car this way. And I think that would be easier, because I might get myself time off that way. And who knows? People dead off without me anyway. That is what made me go, okay, come on. You're so not okay.
Yeah.
And even then, in that sort of mind frame of, I'd already organized my own appointments, arranged the scheme of therapy with somebody. And I was like, remember saying to my colleague, very similar to you, I was bawling my eyes out crying. Felt so much better after 2 or 3 hours of crying. And it was a tiny thing. I think the kids were messing around. They were only babies, like 2 or 3. And I was like, just go to bed. And I've never, ever done that. And I was like, I can't do this. Oh my God. And I remember going to my colleague's house who didn't live far. And I just said, just want you to know, I'm not okay at the minute, but you know what? I'm just gonna. I just wanted you to know, okay, I'm just gonna not come to some meetings for a bit, so I can just buy myself some time. And he was like, "Honey, just take 2 weeks off." And I was like, "No, no, I feel much better. I feel much better. I've made my appointments. I'm on it." And I listened, and 2 weeks turned into 5 months, and it was the best 5 months I could have gifted myself with, even though the first 2 or 3 months were a complete. But I was like a zombie. I didn't know. I just remember this weird, so dissociated. And I guess all I can liken it is for somebody, I am full of fun and fizz and I was just like, I was worse than a burnt, like on a spark when a sparkler is just completely charcoal down. There's this tiny little ember still going, just a tiny glow. And I'm like, I didn't even fucking have that glow. I didn't feel, but it was horrible. It was just awful. Um, and in my book, it's the beginning, it's the intro in my book. I liken it. It was like this black hole. I was basically in this black hole, and there's this loop cycle of shame, pain, blame, constantly going round and round and round, incessant, until I allowed myself to stop. And that was the most important part of my healing journey, actually, allowing myself to go, I'm not okay. It's okay. Even though I didn't know it at the time. But it's incredible how powerful mind can be, I think, in the prison, in the kind of in everything it can encase you in.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same breath, it's like you can blast it away. And it's that same mindset, but it's finding that flip side. And when you start true self-care, which is self-love, which is the highest vibrational energy frequency going, it's healing, it's transmuting, it transforms you. That's the same inwards as it is unconditional love outwards. And that is so incredibly powerful. And that is really the glitter I talk about, and why I call myself the glitter practitioner. Because when you are literally radiant, that's the fizzessence. You are radiating this energy, this light. It sticks like glitter. It passes on to somebody else. You're uplifting them. You inspire somebody else with that, and you're passing it on, and that's the ripple effect that starts happening, and it's beautiful and it's incredible. And I think it just takes that awareness, and it really is as simple as that. But it's not simple. Simple does not mean easy, is what I meant. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But it can be simplified.
Yes.
And that's how I always liken it, is like, this is where you're at now, physically, emotionally, whatever's going on. You either want to continue the way you feel or you don't.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simple.
Yes or no.
That is the exact question of when I had my spiritual awakening, July 9th, 2016.
Yeah.
I woke up that morning and basically said, fuck the life I have been living so far. I don't want it. And either I'm going to build a different one, or I just won't live on the planet anymore. And I was like so comforted by that thought of like, I just want to be alive. If this is the best we can do, we just don't even be here. And that was
totally get that.
A turning point of like, okay, so if I, do self-care, like focus on myself every day and, give it 2 weeks or whatever, and I still don't want to be here, then I don't have to be here. And again, I was so comforted by that thought of like, this is up to you.
Oh.
Like you get to decide if you want to continue living in that space or if you want to create a different space for yourself. And that was the beginning of like you said, it's not easy. It was very simple. It was like, I'm killing that life. It doesn't exist anymore. That was simple. But building all new habits, like you were saying, like you got to tear it all apart. I think how I understand it is when you say it is like your identity. Like your identity has to get torn apart and then you have to pick up the pieces. Like which ones do you want to keep and which ones are the programming that like, no, fuck that. That's not me. You know, that was
let it go. Let it go.
That was somebody else's fear. Like whatever. I don't want that piece anymore.
And that's the thing, it's calling back in those pieces of you that you've allowed to stay buried. You know, it's the like the little Nupi who felt very shamed in a certain situation. And it's like, it's okay. I got you. Come on. Let's do this together.
Totally.
And I'm making it, but it's true. It's integrating your inner child and allowing her or him to come out and play, for fuck's sake. I'm very in tune with my inner child, clearly.
Let me ask you this. Were you back when you were like, go, go, go in your like practice? Like, were you in touch with your inner child at that point? Or would you say you were more cut off from that back then?
I would say there were elements. I wasn't totally cut off. But towards the end, I'd say the last probably, I mean, I can track the burnout itself. It was a slow, it was insidious. It was literally over 3 or 4 years, to be honest. And it was the last few months where this recurrent feeling of, oh God, I can't even be asked. I just can't even be bothered. Because normally the other reason I'm known as the Glitter Practitioner, because for my whole adult life, probably even as a kid, I've always put glittery. I'm obsessed with glitter.
Yeah, I see it.
I love anything. I love anything sparkly, basically, and I've always done my eyes like this. So patients who hadn't met me before would go, "Can I see that doctor with the glittery eyes, please?" And that's what they remember.
Precious.
Yeah, look, it was so cute. So, to that point, I was like, I would always have something on my eyes, and I'd barely, this sounds trivial, but it's a reflection really of what I mean by this. I couldn't be asked. No, fuck that.
Yeah.
What's the
Doesn't
point?
matter.
What's the point? What's the point? What's the point? And I think these are the subtle things, and then obviously the more obvious stuff, not sleeping, aches and pains, putting it down to something else always, and not really addressing how do I feel really, and I wasn't feeling heard or seen, and it was just my throat chakra was blocked. It was totally blocked, and I think that's why I'm always drawn. This is my favorite color. I'm always drawn to blues and stuff because I think it's a representation of my power source, because I use my voice daily in conveying these messages. So, and sharing things. So
yeah.
I think it was more, I was in tune. She was still there, but not as much as sort of pre that last section of time, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's like the connection kind of like gets,
like
you were saying about the ember, like a fire that's almost completely burnt out, but it really never is. Actually, I'm going to link something in the description for everybody if they want to take a listen. It talks about the ember and that's like essentially our soul, and even when it feels like the ember is really only ash now, it can always like
stoke. Absolutely.
And that's how it kind of came back. It's like opened itself back up.
It never goes. Never goes. And that's what I say to people, from seeing people. I don't want to trigger anybody here, but I'm talking severe deprivation, extreme cases of trauma, and the impact that has on somebody's heart and soul and the way they present and their health, for example, not just emotionally, physically as well. But it's exactly that. That inner sparkle, it never ever goes. It just goes down.
Yeah.
And it's understanding how to stoke it back up again, not from somebody else, because that's codependency. You're not dependent on anybody else to make you feel this. Yes, it's different having support where it's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the right help and the right support at the right time, and reaching out to professionals, say, or to your doctor or to a trusted colleague, friend, whatever, and allowing yourself to do that, because that's all it takes to start fanning those flames again.
Yeah.
And then you start baby step, discovering yourself again. And it's not an easy journey, and it is ups and downs, but the rewards, oh my gosh, you will come through it. It's knowing that, okay, it doesn't have to be like this anymore. There is another way, and I've got X, Y, Z, and I know I'm being supported. That's huge. That's all you need. And I really wanted to really reiterate it, because I know we've spoken about lots of different things, but if anybody is feeling similar or being triggered by, oh my God, that resonates, that's how I'm feeling, please, please, please don't struggle on your own. That's not weak that you're asking for help. Reach out, ask for help. Yeah,
That is
I can't stress.
Yes, I want
Yeah.
to add where this is actually from a video from a channel called Healthy Gamer, GG. It's like for video game people, and I'm not a gamer at all, but this is a psychiatrist who left his practice to start a YouTube channel, and he now like is trying to help gamer kids like have
Oh
a
wow.
healthy life, you know, basically similar to what you're describing of like I want more reach, essentially.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
does a lot of talking about burnout. And one of the things that he said that was such a game changer for me, and kind of coming up against the people in my world who would essentially say burnout's not even real. Like,
oh, fuck
just,
off.
oh God, don't even get me started on that shit. But anyways, like to go up against them, like what he said made so much sense, that like you basically can't get burned out unless you're a hard worker, unless you care like a lot. So like it's only the ones who are invested, it's only the ones who care, who want to help, who want to do good for others. Those are the only ones who can even experience burnout. And that really got me seeing the ones who say it's not real. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, they're
Do
the
you know
ones
what?
like they're
Yeah.
totally
Do you know
fine.
what? That
They're
is
not
so funny.
overgiving. They're not
No,
in danger of
they're not.
overgiving. And I'm
Exactly.
like,
And that's so funny that you said that, because it's a double-edged sword. So almost the why is the rates of burnout so high in the medical profession per se? And it's not just the medical profession, but specifically, you know, you are drawn to the profession because you want to help people. There's a call, it's a calling, say, or and then underlying that, a lot of type A personalities, a lot of perfectionists. What does that mean? Unrelenting standards. Where's that coming from? What is it that you're trying to, overcompensate to make yourself feel, yes, this?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody, obviously, but there's quite a few. And it's when you're giving because that's what you are meant to do. And that's your training, actually. What do you mean? You're not going to leave a shift, but then there are certain physicians or certain medics in training, you can spot them a mile off. They wouldn't give a two hoots for leaving three people in, they've still got time left to the end of the shift. And they'll just either dump a case or they'll just bugger off.
Yeah.
And then there are other people like muggins. I cannot do that to my colleague. That would be wrong.
Right.
I'm not trying to be a Pollyanna, but and then there's also how you are expected to play the game in the hospital side of things, and it's all about that. It's all about self-sacrifice and yes, I put your needs before mine kind of thing. No, fuck that. Your needs come first.
Yeah.
As a physician, even more so. No, you get to say no.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if you are somebody who gives a shit, you care, you cannot sustain that.
Yeah.
Take it from me.
Yeah.
I am a burnout warrior, self-confessed.
Yeah.
It's true. And I think there's nothing wrong with saying no. And it's learning how to say no in a way that doesn't make you feel like you're going to vomit and go, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. Oh, I'm such a bad person. Oh my God, oh my God. No, it's being that, the go-to person. And this is what I discovered, actually. I had a part to play in my burnout because I couldn't say no. And I felt too bad to say no. And it was almost, I was in my head getting really fucked off and irritated if I was always being the one asked to do certain things because I was not easy target. I didn't want to offend, and I didn't want to be seen as not a team player, and all of these things. And I'm like, I'm the person who the girls will go in, will you sign this? Will you do this? Will you do this? And I'm being interrupted 20 times. And I'm like, I'm not the person on call today, but okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And when I started to say no, it was almost a bit tentative going, no.
It's like, no, question mark.
Yeah.
Am I allowed? Question mark.
Nope. And then it'd be like, no, I'd love to help you, but today's not the day I'm going to do that. There's a way you learn how to say things and take ownership of that. And it is having those healthy boundaries. And
can I say something
again?
Because I think,
yes, you may. Please do.
What I had driving me that, again, like when you're in it, it's almost impossible to break yourself out until you've really had enough. Because I had some little part of me that was being fed off of being needed and being the go-to person. I had an ego trip happening that's like, this is my identity, is the go-to person, but it's killing me. So if I want to get
how do I break that?
But then I can't be the go-to person, but then who am I?
Yeah.
It's
and like, then and then maybe I'm not good enough, and maybe I say yes because that's all I know, kind of thing. And Jesus Christ, fuck it off, focus, breathe, flip, right there.
Yeah, and like that's what I had to do. That was the work of like building up an identity that was more than just meeting the needs of the people standing in front of me.
Because that's how you seek your validation. Yes.
And
it's about approval, and that's the underlying root cause. Know thyself. You know yourself, and you don't always know yourself. It takes time you think you get it, and then there's another layer that comes away, and then there's another, and the deeper you go, the more really authentic, owning authenticity. That's exactly what it is. That's you, your authentic self. And that's what people receive, and that's who you are. And I guess not everybody's comfortable with that for themselves. I mean, that's what I can see. I'm the same here with you now as I am at home with my patients, clients, my kids, my friends, people who I don't know. As you know, we didn't know each other. And I'm just like, hi.
That's like one of the road signs that I use is like when I start to feel like I can't just be myself, I'm like, what is happening here? Like, what am I afraid of? What are they projecting onto me? What am I projecting onto them?
And it is perfectly okay to go, okay, this is maybe not in alignment with me, and that is absolutely fine. It's okay, because not every single person is going to get the same draw, pull, energy, vibration, same frequency, and that is fine. It's not you being any less than. It is what it is, and it's being comfortable in that to go, okay, this is not me, this is what it is, and I am still plenty good enough. And that takes, again, it sounds as though it's all right. And I'm very conscious of this, again, on my own show, on Live with the Glitter Practitioner, which is every Monday at
Yeah.
8 p.m. Oh, did you
Which
like the
is
way I
so
did that?
similar to this for
Yeah,
anybody who loves
yeah,
heart to heart. Like they're
yeah,
basically the same. It's like two people
yeah,
doing cool work, having a conversation.
yeah,
So fun.
precisely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get out.
So that is every Monday at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 12 noon Pacific Standard Time.
Beautiful.
But every
We'll have
Monday.
to link some in the description so
Yeah,
people can find those videos if they
definitely.
want to check it out.
There's lots of swearing usually and giggles and all sorts, but juicy conversations as well. But what was I just saying? I was going to say something really I wanted to share with you um about authenticity. Was it? Oh God, I can't even remember now. My
You're
mind's
good.
gone.
It's okay. Can you believe it has been over 90 minutes?
No way.
Talk
Seriously.
about a time lapse. I looked at that and I'm like, did we start at 11?
Holy shit. It's 10
No,
to
we
6.
didn't.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's been 2 hours. Are you crazy? It's 2 hours.
Right, including our pre-conversation.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is what happens when I find people who are on the same frequency.
I
It
love it.
literally is like time
It's like
stops
time.
existing.
Yes.
It
Yes.
goes away.
It's like
Oh,
I love it. It's like
yeah.
Interstellar. It's my
Yes.
favorite film. I love the music.
Oh,
And you know when he goes to it's that bit when 1 year, 1 year on Earth is other way around. 1 year on Gargantium is like 10 years on Earth or something.
okay.
All the timelines all get all befuddled and all mixed up. That's exactly what happens. It just feels like bam. I was like, oh my God, it feels like we've only been talking for 10 minutes. Come on.
I
We've got
know.
so much more.
I know. I know. And that's what I'm thinking is we should just
Oh
call
gosh.
it good. I'm feeling like this was amazing for today. Like the
Me
bubble
too.
the bubble
I
of
think that
Fizzessence.
yes, and I think that's why I forgot what I was talking about because I suddenly realized, gosh, I'm a bit tired now.
Right? It's hard to stay in the body and pay attention to that when it is so fun to play with the other person. But I do think we should definitely do
Oh,
it again if
I
you
would love to.
if you would love to.
I would absolutely love to.
I
I'd love
agree. I
to.
think we could keep going and
I think we could.
unpacking and exploring and giggling and
Yes.
fizzing and all the things. Oh,
Thank you so much. I have had the bestest time. I really, really have. Thank
time
you.
flies. Yeah, when you're having fun.
Amazing.
God,
Amazing.
I hope everybody watching this had that experience of like getting in a time loop where just suspended in fizzy bubbles. And that's my hope for anybody who got to take this in.
Oh,
Oh God.
oh, bless.
Yeah. Oh, I love getting to do these. I heart to heart is by far one of my favorite things that I get to do simply because I personally get to sit with cool people like Nupi and chat, but then
Oh,
also reading the comments, the essay that you left on the heart to heart with
yeah.
and so many different people that have an emotional connection to these
Yeah,
conversations where
yeah.
it does light up that number one, it's okay to struggle. But number two,
Yes,
you don't have to do that by yourself. Like you can own it.
yes,
You can just speak
yes.
what's real and find your way to the light through the realness of what you're
Yeah,
experiencing. Like that,
yeah,
oh, it's a path to
yeah.
freedom. It really is.
It is. It
So
really,
much
truly is. And I would add
good.
to that, there are, even if you think nobody's there, I've got nobody to turn to. The universe, life itself has a very funny way. There is always, follow the sprinkles of glitter, is what I would say, because there are always people around who have an unconditional heart there. How do you know? It's the light, it's the energy, and it's feeling safe with somebody, and it's feeling you'll feel the sparkle, you'll feel the energy, and just tune into that is what I would say, because there are always these earth angels, what you want to call them, or the little willow wisps and fireflies. I say they come, they're there, they're always there.
Yeah.
It's
You
whether or
you
not you
dropped
allow
into my life
yourself. Yeah,
like out of nowhere.
it's whether
I love it.
it's whether or not Oh, I don't know what happened there. It's whether or not you allow yourself to see them and be guided by them, is what I say.
Yes. And clearly we both are doing that because we had this conversation, and those little things are what brought us together in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and look at like, what country are you located in?
In the UK.
In the UK. And I live in Kansas, in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my God. See?
Like,
isn't that incredible? I love it.
Swap people up off like random parts of the world and stick them together on a Zoom. And
it's amazing. It is amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling so blessed, so filled in my cup to connect with you today. I hope
I've gone all wibbly wobbly now.
Pulling it back together after one of these, like coming back into the 3D, it's a trip. Like you're re-emerging.
It's gorgeous. I'm floating. I'm in my happy zone. I'm like,
this was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to tell you as well. I love singing in my clinic as well.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I do. I love singing.
The inner child sings, period.
Yes.
Like people who say that, oh, I never sing. I'm like, that's sad. That's sad to me because the inner child won't put up with the singing.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Making up the songs, making up the new words, making up all the things, like that's what the inner child does. It plays.
Yeah. So, I'm loving it. Yeah. I've got the most wonderful. Yeah, let's play again. On the next playtime, I will share my acronym for pivot. I'm really proud of it. And I've got my own little ditty that goes along with it.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah.
I really want to do it now. I can't wait. No, I won't. We will save it.
We'll save it for next time, and we'll come back fresh to play again, and it'll be wonderful. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that. I'm gonna look forward to it until it's time.
I can't wait.
I'm sure there's
Thank
lots
you
of
so
people who will be doing the same. Oh, it has been such a treat.
Thank you. Amazing. And I'm like, ooh, more Fizztingly. More Fizztingly. And that's where Fizz Tingle's coming from.